Yo, how's it going? We are back, month 2 on being a fully professional and full-time entrepreneur, solopreneur, voice actress, and I'm adding in a couple other services, but you get the idea, right? We are doing the thing. And as you may see in my thumbnail, is we are collecting some information. We are adjusting and pivoting and trying to make everything kind of cohesive and a little bit more efficient than we were last month. So in the span of the past month, I've had some more clients, I've had some more setbacks, and I've had a few breakthroughs. It's a very winding road. I was thinking to myself, like, it seems a lot of the time that I put in, it takes a little bit of a rebound to actually come full circle, right? So it's like you plant these little seeds, these fictitious, metaphorical seeds, and, they don't just grow overnight. It's not like, oh, hey, let me send out this email and then automatically get in a return. No, it takes some time. You have to water it and feed it and all that nice jazz and, not let it die. Make sure it gets a little bit of sunlight, thank goodness for some vitamin D. Give it some opportunity to grow before, you go back and expect to get fruit from it. So those are some of the things that, they seem really obvious. Let's not waste our time here, right? Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So we did some Googling of what a solopreneur is and some of the most asked questions about becoming one. So let's get right to it. First question. This is a lot harder to pull off. What is a solopreneur? That one's easy, right? Obviously. So I think it basically is like an entrepreneur that is doing it solo. Usually whenever we start out as a small independent business owner, we're on our own. We can't necessarily afford to hire and delegate out some of our jobs and things that we have to do, right? And so we generally just kind of trying to figure it out and get through the muck, and by doing so, we learn how to do it a little bit better. It may not be our best. Like, I do agree that at some point we should delegate and we should hire out some work so that, one, we get more done. And then, bringing in more people is like building more relationships. And that's always great, And I love that part. That's my favorite. And believe it or not. And then on top of that, like some people do kind of go into a business with other owners or partners and they get to work together to start. And I think those relationships are beautiful. I am so jealous of all of you people who have people that you're just like, oh yeah, we're going to do this with my buddy and it's going to be great. And I'm like, man, I want a buddy. But anyway. Sometimes we just kind of have to go it alone for a little while and figure it out. And sometimes it's better off that way. I do tend to work a little bit better alone. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Next question. How does a solopreneurship grow? Okay, so that's the part we're learning now. So some of the parts about this have been really interesting. And like I said, you kind of sow some seeds, you give it some time, some water, some sunshine, and then you start to see some of the return on investment, some ROI. And so, you have to do marketing, you have to do sales, you have to actually be able to provide the service or product that you are delivering and promising. They always say over deliver, under promise. And I wanted to make sure I said that right. I didn't want to say that wrong like an idiot. But anyway, so that's one of them that people, there's plenty of cliches out there. Don't get me wrong. You can pick one and there'll be so many. But I do think that it's very important to stay consistent, even if it isn't a daily basis, a weekly basis of some sort. You just pick whatever consistency you want or need or can manage and do that. And then sometimes there's going to be pivots. There's going to be adjustments. You're going to be like, you know what? This isn't something that I really need to focus on right now. And I think that this is starting to come and make something. And we should go and visit and, address this and try and cultivate whatever is happening here. And I think that that's really cool too. I'm also myself doing that. Not so much that I'm like walking away from voice acting. Okay. I'm just adding more things to it to see, where it goes, where it leads. Sometimes it's fun to knock on doors and see what's behind them. Let's see. What's the next question? How many employees does a solopreneurship have? Last time I checked, it's one. Generally speaking. But that could also mean that you have an assistant, maybe, if you wanted. They may not be like on your payroll necessarily, but they may be like a contractor that you hire periodically whenever, you're like overloaded, or, you actually have some income, or you're like, somebody offers to help and they're like, hey, I'm trying to step my foot in some water here and I think that I could help you out if you help me out. We scratch each other's back and you're like, you know what? All right, I'll take a chance on you. Let's go. So, yeah, that's generally how many are in a solopreneurship. Can two entrepreneurs date? Okay, we got a spicy boy here. I think it's possible, but there's a caveat. There's always a caveat, right? So a lot of times people tend to work with people when they shouldn't. A lot of people tend to say that you shouldn't mix work and family, or work and friends, or in some of the cases, work in relationships. But, obviously the not platonic kind, but the romantic ones. So that doesn't necessarily mean in this question that they are entrepreneurs together,
but that they are dating each other and have two separate businesses.
Now, I do think that's a lot easier to tackle, but I do also think that there are relationships that can manage those things, but you have to be very communicative and explain what your expectations are and have boundaries with each other. And, a lot of people tend to preach that it's really good to have a separation, especially if it's within your home, that your workspace is, that you have like a designated workspace and a designated living space, so that whenever, you are in said working space or living space, you don't like mix the two. And so that it's like, it's a switch in your brain, that you are not, colluding and muddying the water. So I do think it is possible, yes, but I do think that it might be a little bit more difficult than not to. For me personally, my fiance, he does work for a company and he likes that. He wants to not have to deal with admin. He wants to just show up, do his job, and get to go home at the end of the day. And if that makes someone happy, then by all means, be a pig in mud. It's great.
Yep, after a long day of doing nothing, it's good to kick back.
But some people need more than that. Some people need a challenge. Some people,
don't like working for the man.
And so if you have a dream and you have, means, and the responsibilities don't outweigh that, then obviously, maybe entrepreneurship is something you want to discover or test out and try it out. But obviously, if you do decide to do that, I don't necessarily suggest that you just go all in, but not really committed, if that makes sense. It's like, I just want to see what this is like. And then it's like a week later, you're like, yeah, it's not for me. I quit my job and I spent my entire life savings, but after a week, I don't know, man. I'm going to go see if I can get my job back. You probably don't want to go that way, but obviously, some people do. I'm not going to yuck your yum.
Don't yuck someone's yum, right? I've heard this before. I love that term.
I had to use it, Ari. I'm sorry. So, needless to say, I would like to mention that not only does that go for people who are dating in a romantic relationship, I do think that this also applies for family members and friends. You have to be careful, again, with those boundaries and expectations and communication. It's going to be very important moving forward. If you decide to work with that person, or if you decide to do work for that person as a client and business person relationship. A lot of people say, just don't do it. I've actually talked to a lot of people about this, some personal friends of mine who are business owners and freelancers, and they're just like, yeah, I decided early on that I just wasn't going to do that. It just wasn't going to work. And I think I'm also going to be one of those people. I had to learn the hard way. It's laughable now, but at the time, I really got my feelings hurt, and, I'm not going to go into detail. But, I definitely learned a lesson, and I'm glad that I learned it early so that I could, make some mistakes when it's not so detrimental, I would imagine, I hope. And so then, later on I can be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pump the brakes on this, or, already establish those defined and designated terms and agreement between two people or however many people are involved. You get the idea.
Let's go on to the next question.
We have, what risks are there to becoming a solopreneur? So, there are many. Few and far between. But there's also just the main obvious ones, obviously you're taking a financial risk.
Cash money, I'm gonna make it rain.
You are also taking a personal vulnerability risk. I feel like I have to put myself out there a lot. And especially with marketing, it feels very silly sometimes. Heck, doing this right now feels kind of silly. But in the long run, I do think that it's fun to kind of get the opportunity to be creative and see some of the things that other people do and, maybe even make a spin on it, or, kind of make something that is all your own. It doesn't matter. But obviously, having some savings set aside, looking back now, I do wish that I had made a little bit more planning as far as the having a savings. I did have one, it's dwindling. But basically, I think that if you are going full-time on your own and aren't having someone to kind of help mitigate some of the costs involved, that you should probably go for a year's worth of expenses. But I'm also planning a wedding, for those of you that do not know. So I should have accounted for that a little bit better. Yep, I'll be the first to admit, I should have thought of that.
Idiot.
And I was just so excited. I was just so gung-ho. But, I'm making it work. I'm making adjustments. And I really think that in the long run, it will be for the better. And everybody kind of has their own journey. I will especially say that for VO. It doesn't matter who you talk to, and they all have a different story as to how they got to success. And it's really kind of amazing at how different and various those are. So let's see, what are some more questions? How does a solopreneur manage time? Ooh, don't at me, bro. Okay, so I'm working on this one still, and I've kind of been learning as I go. And I've been talking to different people, seeing what works for them. I think the thing that might work for me, or the thing that
might be best suited
is going to be blocking time. And I don't really like doing things where I do one thing and then I move on to another
completely unrelated topic.
unless I'm just getting really frustrated and bogged down. Then I might need to walk away and go for a walk or do some cardio and work out and stuff. This project in particular, I've been sitting here looking at this sign for like a week now, and I'm just like, I need to do that. I need to make that video. Stop talking to me. Stop telling me what I need to do. I'll do it. Okay, so we're here now. We're doing it. Managing time is going to be really important. Making sure that you are spending enough time on your craft and your projects and, you know, moving the ball, moving the, I don't know what the word is for that, but you get the idea. And moving the pen forward. So, and I also have to make sure that I'm making time for myself. I'm not having a hard time with that. Some people might. Some people get really excited and then they just start like working and then they just forget like what day it is. And they're like, oh my God, it's been 3 days. I haven't gotten up from the desk. But nope, that has not been my problem. As a matter of fact, I probably take too many breaks, but I'm working on it. We're getting better. And then also making time for family. I feel like these are a lot of things that I've already talked about. Why did you do this to me? But we're adjusting and making the gap and minding the gap just a little bit more every opportunity that we get. And I think that's really cool. So let's see. Hopefully I answered that question pretty well. What does an entrepreneurship degree do? I don't remember this question, but we're going to go with it anyway. So I don't have a degree in entrepreneurship. I'm not going to tell you that I do. My degree is actually in design. And then I have like a minor in fine arts writing and publishing. We made that one up, but it's on my degree. I promise. I didn't make it up off the cuff. That's not what happened. I worked with, somebody at the school to do that. So, an entrepreneurship degree, I would imagine that it would be very beneficial. I do wish that I had taken some more business classes when I was in school, and now I'm having to do YouTube University. I use that in quotation marks. And so I think that it would be very beneficial. However, obviously you kind of have to compare what your options are, how much time you have, how much expenses you have, things of that nature, responsibilities, before you just jump in and dive in head first. I would imagine that it wouldn't hurt. I wonder where you could get one of those degrees. I might need to Google that later. I am amazed that I don't remember this question. However, that's the best of my ability. So I think that's basically the summation of month 2. Moving forward from this point to next month, I do want to get a little bit better at my time management and budgeting. Those are the 2 things that I'm working on and trying to adjust a lot. And I've noticed that whenever I get bogged down on deciding what to do next, I tend to avoid altogether.
You didn't see anything.
I need to go to the store. So, okay, guys, I got a Costco membership. All right, you know it. That's my secret. I apologize. I've been holding that in this entire time. I feel so much better now. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Tabitha. I'm a voice actress, and this is not my studio, but this is a chair in my living room, and we're coming at you not live, but pre-recorded and edited. Gonna need lots of editing here, but as long as I look good, who cares? So thank you for your time. I appreciate all of you for watching this. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the things. You can find me as Tab's Inner Voice. I'm on like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, obviously. And I'm on Facebook, but that's under my name. And who cares about that? Oh, I'm not a boomer. Y'all have a good one. Thank you guys for watching. Yes. My hand hurts. I gotta open it back up again. I meant to drink some water and I was holding that sign the entire time, and so now I have to. Just give me a minute.
Is it hot in here? Is it just me?
Probably. No, it's like 79 in here right now. I'm gonna be sweating all over the screen. It's gonna be great. All right, before I reveal my hand, I'm making myself laugh so much. All right, serious.